IDCA standards so far, from what I've seen and based upon the metrics, are revolutionizing the IT industry by far.
I believe if it stays on course, IDCA will be the de facto industry standard.
The U.S. House is very proud of being part of the IDCA initiative.
To me, IDCA is redefining the standards. They're defining their own standards, not by being vendor-driven. I would say it's a new revolution to standards and how the data center world should be driven.
LinkedIn is always looking to be on the forefront of innovation, so adopting the IDCA standards is a no-brainer.
The fact that I'm actually involved in IDCA and representing the State Department in this endeavor I'm very excited about that. I think it's a great opportunity for the State Department.
So I definitely see Chris's Health implementing the IDCA standards. It's going to allow us to do our job more effectively, more efficiently, and it'd be easier for me to put the package in front of the CIO and the CEO and say, hey, here's how we're going to go forward. Here's how, say, we're going to build another data center.
We will adopt the IDCA standards because they'll be the right thing to do. And AIG is about doing the right thing.
We have a vast array of applications. At some point in time, it will be useful to compare one application to another just to illustrate the differences between the two and the risks involved. So if this standard helps us achieve a goal like that, then yes, I could see us adopting it.
So there are a lot of good standards out there, but I think there is a gap in terms of a broader assessment that incorporates all of those elements. IDC is doing a lot of work in this area.
It's got the possibility to standardize the way data centers approach, not just how they design and they plan for the future, but how do they operate.
The IDCA standard looks at all the different components that make up the data center. It also looks at all the different standards, some of which have been out for a long period of time. This will be an updated standard that can provide data center professionals and data center management, as well as executive management, with a tool to make some critical decisions.
The IDCA standards will help the industry by providing a common language, and the data center community as a whole can now have a conversation, and it should be common and normalized across the whole industry.
Having seen the standards, really impressed at the depth and the breadth of the whole program. We're able to look at the whole stack all the way from the foundation to the actual applications of what we're doing, and to be able to define the networking, the work being done, and how to get that work done within the entire stack is very impressive.
I think the IDCA standards are phenomenal. There's obviously been a lot of work that's been put into this by people who are passionate about enhancing the data center space.
Technology has evolved and is evolving so fast that the traditional ways of designing, auditing, and running the data centers are becoming obsolete. Actually, they have already become obsolete.
The industry is broken. Someone has to come and help it. So IDCA's mission is to create common metrics to bridge the gap between IT and facilities, so finally everybody could speak the same language.
For years, IT facilities and operations have been silos, and everyone knows that. Everyone who's in the industry, and that's why we never hardly get anything done. IDCA made me back up from the wall and look at it at a holistic viewpoint. For example, I'm being on the engineering side. I never hardly even thought about ops, the facility side. But I see you guys, what you're doing. You've taken, engineering, what we do, the various ones, and then you took facilities and you merged them together with your model. It's like a Venn diagram, and to show us what we have in common and fulfill. Because usually if you design something, you just move on, set out, you'll get it. But then when you say, hey, no, have you ever really sat down and understood what they're trying to talk about, the mechanical, electrical, why you're creating hotspots, or have you ever doing really? No, you don't. You only think about your piece. This makes me appreciate the facility guys even more, and the ops guys. Because like I say, when you take that Venn and you go engineering, you go facilities and operations, you're in the middle. You're the application ecosystem, and you're the one telling us, look at our 7 layers all the way down. And if you can get them all together, then you could say, oh, this is what they're trying to say.
One of the problems that the IDCA standards solves is the inability for people within the application ecosystem support chain, if you will, to effectively communicate their own performance and their own efficiencies to people outside of the application support organization.
Standards are the most important thing that you can have, especially in a technology industry. If you don't have standards, you end up building something that is unsupportable.
When somebody wants to host their application or their data in a given data center today, each data center is following a set of standards that they either self-proclaim or they have chosen due to their background or their taste of a specific standard, whereby another data center has gone through a different route, and comparing these different methodologies and approach and different standardizations is almost impossible for the end user.
So what these standards will allow the community to do is look into one consolidated place to know that they're managing and maintaining their data center in a superior fashion.
I think there's a real potential for this document to help them understand all the things that they have to be cognizant of in terms of how they operate their data centers.
I believe that IDCA's mission and goals are at the forefront of what needs to be happening in our industry. The expectations of certification, education, driving and developing standards for performance will help the industry move forward to the next level.
What we do to help companies adopt the IDCA standard is in twofold. By investing in our people to enable them take the same gospel to the end user customers, and also engaging with the customers directly in sharing with them the value vis-a-vis what they currently do, from investing in the IDCA framework to drive the value they expect from their data centers.
Been at the house for 15 years, and we've addressed numerous data center problems in that period of time. The IDCA standards will help the government sector in many ways. First thing it's going to address is, again, that gap in standards. So we've been following standards that are very, very narrow in scope, in some places very broad in others, and they don't address everything that we need to have addressed. The IDCA standards will address those.
The standards that the IDCA committee has put forward really encompasses the direction that the data center industry is going for the future.